Hi, I'm Toysbackzen. Today we're going to take a look at my collection of Super 7 ReAction figures. I'm on the fence whether I want to put them up on the wall as carded figures because of the artwork and the nostalgia of having carded figures that are kind of vintage looking, or would they stand alone as loose figures on a shelf? So let's take a look at these figures and maybe you can help me decide. Stick around. In 2013, Super 7 began to manufacture the ReAction line, starting with the canceled Alien figures from 1979. These figures are 3 3/4 inch with 5 points of articulation. You can clearly see from looking at the ReAction logo that Kenner heavily inspired this line. The majority of this collection has been bought from toy shows, classified ads, and on occasion from the department stores. I have bought a few off of Amazon and we'll talk about that later on. With lines like Goonies, Back to the Future, Star Trek, Terminator, Scream, Aliens, these figures were manufactured for the adult collector with the nostalgia of the 80s. Not only do I find that these figures are easy to find and easy to collect on the aftermarket, they still make them today and you can still buy them from Super 7. Not only are the figures cool, but I really enjoy the card art. But what I wanted to do is explore, are these figures worth taking out of the packaging and putting them on a shelf? Not only is that going to save space in my collection room, but I don't like to keep things in the cards too often. So that's where all you guys come in. After the end of this video, I want you to tell me, after seeing the figures in and out of the packaging, what I should do. Do I need to put them on a shelf, or should I leave them in the card art and hang them on the wall? So here you can see we have some loose figures here. We have Alien, Ripley, Flash. We have Spock. He's got a big head. We've got Michael Myers from Halloween. Here are some of my favorite figures from this collection. Here you can see Gorn from the original TV series Star Trek. This is one of my favorite in this whole collection. I just really like the aliens. And of course, if you look in the back, not only will it tell you what series the figure is from, but it also will tell you what figures came in that series and which ones you need to collect still. Something that was reminiscent of the 80s quite a bit, and something that we've, I think, lost in the collecting community buying new figures, although Mattel is doing it right now with the Origins line of Masters of the Universe. Next we have Vina from the same series and also from the Star Trek TV show. Getting these figures and having them up, it reminds you of the TV show that they are in, the episodes that they are in, and it just brings back a lot of memories. Another figure that's my favorite in this collection is the Fifth Element Lilu. I love this movie, and I like this character a lot. And she does have a gun there, that's pretty cool. A lot of these figures do come with accessories, whether it's a weapon or something that's significant from the movie or TV show. This is another one of my favorites. It is Sloth from Goonies. Unfortunately, I bought this one and paid a premium for it, probably over $20, I believe, from Amazon, and it came like this, crushed in a box. And I will never buy from Amazon again when it comes to collectibles and stuff like that. Like I said, even if I open these, I would like to save the cards. I think they're really cool, and they'd be fun to look at. And if they're all creased like that, well, I don't want to pay $20 to get something like that in the mail when I receive it. Data is really cool too. I didn't get all these figures. I only get the figures that I feel like they could stand alone. But I like Data's because he's got an accessory. It's his spring-loaded dentures that comes out from underneath his arm from his coat sleeve. You can see there, you can plug it in right underneath his hand. That's really cool. And you can see Sloth and Chunk. He's got the baby root. So that would be his accessory, which is kind of a funny accessory, actually. These are pretty comical. And you can see this one was not punched either. If they're coming from Amazon, they shouldn't be punched because, well, they don't put them on display. Another one of my favorite figures from this collection is the Predator, the unmasked Predator. Shows you the figures in the back. That's in the series. Collect them all. And they're pretty nice cards. They're pretty thick. They're not cheap cardboard by any means. And I think that's why I like them a lot. And another one that I really enjoy is the T-1000 Patrolman from Terminator 2 Judgment Day. I like the card art on it. I like the figure where he's got his weapon too. I know that they have a couple of these figures where it shows that, you know, in the movie where he was shot in the chest and his chest explodes from the liquid metal. That's a cool figure. I wouldn't mind getting that someday. And here's the a shot of the figures from that series. Again, another unpunched figure. I like this one a lot from the Aliens. Other than having an alien or Ripley, this is a cool figure because it shows the alien coming out of his chest, which is pretty morbid, actually. I think it's awesome. And here's the card back, too. My next favorite figure out of this collection is the alien itself. It's weird how this alien was in the bubble backwards. Not sure if that was packaged that way or if it just flipped around, but look at the artwork on the front of that card. It's amazing. And there's some other figures in this collection. You can see some of these figures, if they were not in the card and said alien, they would just look like any person from any movie. Now this character also glowed in the dark. I actually turned the lights off and it didn't glow through the bubble. Here is a loose figure. Some of these figures I did buy loose just from toy shows. This is Flash. He's 5 points, just like Star Wars. And his head turns, his arms move, and his legs move. And that's about it. What you would expect if you are familiar with Kenner Star Wars. Next we have Mr. Spock. He's got a really large head. It's kind of like the big head Han Solo figure from the 70s. He did come with a belt, and he did, I believe, come with a phaser. But I got this loose, so that's what I got out of it. And here we have Michael Myers. I find it weird that his arms and legs are a different color than his suit on his body. It's like they have a matte finish and then a shiny finish. The next figure I want to show you is the Alien Queen figure. Again, 5 points of articulation, which is unfortunate. I find that the fact that the tail does not move affects how it stands. And it has high heel shoes. I guess it being the queen, that's intentional. I don't really like that feature of this figure. You know, the arms, legs, head moves. The tail moving would help it stand a little bit better. Too bad that the mouth doesn't open and show the attack tongue. This was a 3-pack with Ripley and the power loader also. So let's take a look at those too. Here is the power loader. It's a pretty cool thing. The lifter arms move. The cage comes open so you can take the figure out. Here's Ripley. Not really a great liking to... She doesn't really look like Ripley, if you ask me, but anyway, that's fine. The power loader is neat, but it is lacking articulation. It's too bad that the legs don't move. The arms do almost go 360 degrees, but then the handle for Ripley's hand gets in the way. Here is a figure that I have doubles of. It's Kane. And this is the one that does not have the alien come out of his chest, which I showed you already. I have 2 of these. I'm not sure why I have 2 of them. I can't remember why I doubled up. But I probably bought one at one time and forgot that I had it already. That's what happens when you go to toy shows and don't bring a list with you. But let's open him up and check him out and see if he stands alone on himself. To me, I don't feel like he would. You may look at this figure and have no idea who this character is and what movie it's from. Other than him having the face hugger, if he didn't have that, it would be a pretty boring figure, actually. Pretty plain, pretty boring, but I mean, you know, that's what he was wearing in the show, so they're trying to be accurate to that. Although none of these figures really look like the actors from the movies. Star Wars was like that too. A lot of the Kenner Star Wars, they were very, you know, inaccurate with the face sculpts and stuff. But that was the nostalgia of it. That was the fun of it. Here we have another one. We've got Kyle Reese. Now this is an interesting figure. This has some soft goods on it. If you can remember at the beginning of the movie where he comes through the portal, he's not wearing any clothes. So he quickly grabs some clothes from a clothesline from an alley. And then I believe he breaks into a hunting shop and gets the rest of his overcoat and shotgun. So the overcoat is part of the soft goods. Again, the card art on this is so cool. So let's open this up and check it out. The overcoat is nice. It's a nice material. It's not like a cheap material either. It's like it almost feels like a canvas type of material. Again, 5 points of articulation. Sporting those Converse, which look nice. The paint apps on these are pretty good. And he holds the gun really well, pretty tight. And it's a hard plastic, not rubbery like the new Star Wars shit that you get. And there's some close-ups of these loose figures that we have. I love them. I don't really care for the Spock head though. I think it's a little large. These figures are obviously inspired by the Kenner's Star Wars figures from the 70s and 80s. And this is also I believe a Kenner Terminator from maybe early 90s by Carol Co. Oh, 1995 by Carol Co. Which I think was made by Kenner. I'm not really sure. I haven't been able to figure it out. Here's some other figures. We've got the Mego Star Trek figures from the 70s. All 5 points of articulation. And then we have these figures. These were made in 1988. They were the next generation figures, 5 points of articulation, made by Galoob. Now these would be cool figures, but unfortunately, the phasers have been molded to their hands. In 2015, Funko also partnered up with Super 7 and helped make the ReAction figures. And here's one that just Funko did by the classic TV series Batman. So leave a comment down below and let me know what I should do. Should I open these up? Should I put them on the wall? I think for the most part, I would like to just leave them in the cards, and some of them I'll take out of the packaging and put them on a shelf somewhere if I have the room. Let me know what you think you would do if you had these figures. Would you take them out of the card, free them from their bubble, or would you leave them in the cards just because of the card art and the nostalgia of having them in the cards? I think they look really good in the cards too. Let me know. Don't forget to subscribe, like this video, and share it with your friends. Thanks a lot, and see ya.